Welcome back to the podcast. My name's Kevin, and today I've got a pretty special guest, someone that is probably the best in the space when it comes to transformation and self-mastery. I attended a one-day transformation event a couple of months back, and really honored to have him in the space today. So welcome, Lewis.
Thank you, brother, mate. There's a big claims you're making, so I'll do my best to live up to it, man. But I appreciate you coming to the one day, man. It was heaps of good fun, and mate, it was a pleasure to connect again, and yeah, have a good chit chat, see where things go.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome, man. Well, I think I just want to, I guess, set the intention for today, which will be centered around transformation and self mastery, and also want to sort of shine a light on maybe the culture that we're living in when it comes to avoiding what's uncomfortable. So,
Love it, mate.
um, if you can kick things off and maybe just give us a rundown of what self mastery means to you.
What does self mastery mean? For me, it's knowing who you are. Because to master things, to master yourself, it's to know who you are first before you can move forward from there. So, for me, that is knowing what your values are. So, soul values, not things like people think like honesty, loyalty, freedom, integrity. For me, those aren't values. For me, values are areas of life that fulfill you. So, such as family, coaching, learning, traveling experiences, family, stuff like that. So, it's knowing who you are. It's knowing what it is that you truly desire for your life, which is your purpose, your mission, your vision. And then mastering those or working through those limitations, the beliefs, the perceptions, the wounds, the blocks that would stop you from being the fullest expression of who you are. The David Statue of David quote sort of comes to mind, where David was always in the statue. Michelangelo just removed everything that wasn't him. So it's always learning to integrate and heal through those wounds that are stopping us from being the greatest expression of who we are. And then to get tactical, it's to learn the skills of how to actually bring that to life. So we're not just, as you heard at the event, we just don't meditate all day and try levitate and manifest. We actually take action and we actually bring things to life. So that's self mastery for me, knowing who you are, working on your shit, and then bringing it to the world.
Beautiful, brother. Yeah, I really like that analogy. The you chip away all the parts that aren't you.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man. As someone that's, I guess, done a lot of the deep work yourself, and you also help a lot of people do the same, what do you feel like some of the patterns that you now can't unsee?
The patterns I can't unsee. For me, it's not, it's the fuel source and to which people do things or why people do things. It's like not no individual sort of act is necessarily bad. It's like I use sex. Is sex a bad thing to do? I would say no. But then I say, well, what's the reason you're doing it? Is it because you've got insecurities, invalidation, unworthy, not enough wounds underneath the surface, and you're using sex to overcompensate to get that? So for me, it's I can sort of feel it and see it in just the way people talk and the way they do things and their energy and their sort of their demeanor of why they're doing things. It's like if someone's trying to build a huge business and make heaps of money because they need to prove that they're worthy to the world. It's like I know that's unachievable goal. You don't feel something internally with anything externally, and it's a very exhausting fuel source to use. It's like it's the pleasure and pain driver. Most people use pain to get started, that sort of desperation fuel. But at some point, if you want to have sort of that long lasting, sustainable fuel, it switches from desperation to inspiration. So I like Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a good example here. It's got like down the bottom, survival, eat, shelter, procreation. And then beyond that, once you have like basic levels of needs met, you feel safe, you've got a roof over your head, you've got basic level of foods, you've got a little bit of financial security. It then goes to what's next, and that's where that sort of inspiration, purpose, and all those things that we spoke about at the event come to mind. So, um, yeah, I would say it's the reason people are doing what they do. Is it are they wearing a mask? Are they overcompensating? I'm sure you'd be quite aware of it, knowing your mind. You're quite a conscious human, so you can just sort of see it and feel it straight away with people. And everyone's doing the best what they have. So I always start with empathy, but then bring people's awareness to it, and just yeah, just sort of see what's underneath the hood a little bit to see if people want to work through it, and they don't have to if they're not ready for it. So yeah, that's kind of what I see. Just people. Um, Showing their personas to the world in some overcompensation way, shape or form. That's definitely what I see with doing the work that I do.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's really fascinating. I think when you, I guess, step out of your own prism, yeah, it's just very easy to see. And I guess there's levels to that as well. Um, but I guess what I want to ask is like where did everything change or start to change for you?
I think the starting point for me was get into the fitness industry. Well, I guess my self-development journey started with my very first mentor. His name was Scott. He became my business partner, close mate for a very long time. I went down for work experience to get into the fitness industry, and I then applied at like sort of 8 different gyms. They all said no for a job, and then I just ended up literally jumping on Gumtree, which you know the app in Australia, and normally they sell like cars and like used couches and shit on it. And there was a job application there, and I just called the guy up and said, "Hey man, I don't want any money. I just want some experience. Can I come work for free?" And he said, "Yeah, come on down." And didn't know that would be the sort of trajectory of my life because he got me into self-development. He started sending me these Tony Robbins videos, these YouTube motivational videos, and I'd never been exposed to it before. I just my family wasn't into it growing up. And I just got hooked on Tony Robbins. Like Tony Robbins, I joke is I say Tony Robbins is the gateway drug to self-development. He gets a lot of people sort of hooked in and gets people to make a move and say yes and do all the things. But I just loved it. It was just like a different. It's kind of like you pull back the veil and you're like, holy shit, where's this been my entire life? Got into Rich Dad Poor Dad, learned about sort of trading time for money and the traditional way, the rat race, as Kiyosaki says. But yeah, that was like the starting point, and then that just like led to so many different rabbit holes from Joe Dispenza to DeMartini to plant medicine, breath work, sound healing, Reiki healing. Yeah, just all the other sort of modalities that I've tried so far. I've tried over 20 as a client, and I've been trained in 9 as a certification. And yeah, Tony Robbins was the starting point 10 years ago.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's always fascinating hearing where people started from. Yeah, cool, man. I guess what I want to ask is, and maybe you can sort of make a distinction here, but why do you think a lot of people maybe like intellectualize a lot of these understandings when it comes to self-development, but really hard, like find it hard to put it into practice?
They intellectualize, but they don't put into practice, as in they don't live it, they don't embody it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The first thing that I thought you were going to go is why do people intellectualize instead of feeling it? I thought that's where you were going to go with that question. So it takes courage to do the work. Like I've had people who have done who know the information and know that they've intellectualized it, they've internalized it. But when you get initiated into like doing the work, just ignore that thing by the way. Just when you get initiated into it, it's hard. It's challenging. It's like when people even know. I was speaking to a client, literally this just an hour ago. I just had an onboarding call with a new client, um, and she's like, I know like that's just my ego coming up, and I want to do it, but I'm so nervous and scared about it. But I know I want to do it, but I'm still fearful of doing it. So I think it's just people can. It's mental masturbation. It's easy to learn all day. You can sit on YouTube and like it's like learning about doing push-ups. It's good to learn about it, but getting down and fucking doing it, especially when like you're on your last rep and you can. It's painful to move through it. I just don't think everyone's like really ready to do that, or they say that they are, but then when you get up against the wall against your shit, it's like when someone's calling you out and challenging you and bringing awareness to your insecurities and where you've got shame and shit. It's hard, man. And I'm a human too. Like I unconsciously deflect things and be a human. But once you have awareness of it, then again, everyone's doing the best what they have. So I try to do my best of being empathetic and understanding for people. But then it's like I say with my more conscious clients that I've been working with, it's like if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So when the shit comes up, I've only had to do this twice in my coaching career so far, where I was working with a client and they were aware of how this worked. The ego wants to deflect, distort, avoid sort of pain, reinforce itself. And we came up to some trauma and some wounds and all these things and these limitations. And they just kept going back to the story. They just kept going back to reaffirming whatever limitation they wanted to keep reaffirming. And I said, pretty much what I just said then was, I'm just letting you know that The ego does all these things, distorts, deflects, reaffirms, justifies, defends, all these things. And if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Right now, you're fighting for them. I'm not here to change anyone who doesn't want to change. You can hold on to this limitation. My life isn't going to change, but yours will stay the same. Do you want to change or not? So I think they're just not aware of it. They intellectually can understand it, but when it comes down to literally facing off with all the shit you've got a lot of shame around and hurt and wounds and insecurities around, it's not always easy, man. And for someone who's done some work like yourself, it's like it's easy to intellectually speak about some concept around projections and insecurities and beliefs and paradigms and all this stuff. But then it's when you're facing your inner hurt that you got when you were like 4 years old, and to feel into that and actually feel the discomfort, the shame, or whatever the feeling was, it's not always nice. And so not everyone's willing to do that. So when you're ready to, though, it's fucking worth it, in my opinion. Definitely think it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like you might have answered my next question partly, which was going to be, why do you think people struggle to stay consistent? So if they're like trying to make this change or they know the direction that they're going in, what do you feel like the biggest roadblocks are?
For me, there's three. My method, the inspired life method. There's three pieces, and one is you're not being yourself. You're trying to live to someone else's projections, and most people don't have that. That's where they're trying to be number two of someone else. They're trying to please mum, dad, society, religion, whatever it is that they've taken on the projections of. And if you're doing that, then you'll struggle to be consistent because you're trying to be someone that you're not. So you'll lack motivation. You'll want to procrastinate, hesitate, all those things. So assuming you're doing that. Second is the inner work. So that's most commonly what I work with. That's the more sort of the stuff you can't see. It's the things you're not aware of. It's the fish doesn't know it's in water, kind of what you're alluding to earlier. It's hard to see it. But me being on the outside and you being on the outside of other people, it's easy. It's easy to see other people's shit in there and shit, right? So um, it'll be something there, something unconscious or just internal that they haven't addressed, or it's going to be skills. They're like, hey, I want to be. I had a call with a client a while ago, and she said she was quote sabotaging her business. I said, okay, well, are you doing what you love? We knew her values and purpose by this point. She's like, yep, this is all aligned. This is true for me. This is a fuck yes for me. This is right. I said, awesome. Okay, well, what are you doing? Like, tell me how many offers are you putting out? That was the thing. She's not getting leads. How many offers are you doing per day? And she like kind of froze a bit. She's like, I've done three in the last week. I said, mate, and it was a lady, and I said, my love, you the average marketplace, 3% of any marketplace is ready to buy. So if you talk to 100 people, relevant, chances are three of them are going to say yes. You've spoken to three in 7 fucking days. So I said, I want you from today till next week. I want you to do minimum of, I think I said 50 or 100, one of them. I think it was 100. Do 100 offers per day. Not, hey, how you doing? Hey, I've got this offer. Are you interested? And between that week, she got some clients. So she was just doing the wrong thing. So the skill was wrong. But most commonly for my work, and maybe just because I love doing it the most, it comes back to some block. I was on a podcast earlier today, actually, perfect example. So she's doing really, really well. She was on Shark Tank. She got an investment on Shark Tank, which is really cool. And she was saying she's like at that sort of she's going from like the 7 figure to 8 figure mark. So she's $1 million to $10 million a year. And we just did like a mini balancing process on the podcast and like brought awareness to, I said, what's your most unfiltered truth that you talk about and that you stand for? Tell me it now. And then she like sort of like didn't want to say it. And I'm like, what are you protecting yourself from? And it was being disliked. And it's like, great, well, let's go to the moment, the wound around dislike, and we started to balance it. It did like a it's like 10% version of it. But she's like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was there. And I'm like, yeah, you try to protect yourself from being disliked from others. Like, yeah, I do it all the time. And I was like, well, that's your block that you don't even see. Now you see it because I brought your awareness to it. So most of the time, it's something they're not aware of because they get skill. Tony Robbins 101. Success is 80% psychology, 20% skills. So skills are easy. ChatGPT could literally give you any skill. Hey, how do you post this? How do you market this? How do you sell this? How do you communicate this? But if you've got something in your coding, conditioning that you're not even aware of that's running the show, Freud said it until you take the unconscious and make it conscious, it will control your life and you'll call it faith. It's like, or fate, sorry. So yeah, it's that's the tricky part. And it's hard. The hardest part of inner work, in my opinion, is finding the root cause. If you can find that belief, that's been playing in the background or that perception that's been fucking with you and triggering you when you can and over causing you to overcompensate. When if you can find those and get really precise at finding your own ones, fuck, you're killing it. You'll be able to grow so quickly. And then life, you will just attract something that's going to trigger you or you're going to project onto. Because yeah, the best way to start your healing is just wait till you get triggered and see what's showing up for you, and then find the root cause, address it. That's the best way.
Incredible. I guess on that topic, like, could you run us through like a quick process for a listener that maybe has no idea, obviously, what might
Yeah, for
be
sure.
blocking them? And
Um, for,
yeah,
can I use you as an example so they can play it along with you?
sure.
Beautiful. So I teach. I do beliefs and perceptions. I prefer perceptions personally. I think they're more powerful than beliefs. I think beliefs work until they don't. If you remember from the event that you came to, so the "I'm not enough," "I'm too much," "I'm not worthy," it's definitely going to play out, and that definitely keeps you stuck. But belief work is actually quite simple to do. We did the process in the room. You can remove beliefs within seconds. You just got to find the belief and step out of it. The part that a lot of people never address, and it was the same with this podcast I was on earlier today, is like she'd done Tony Robbins, she'd done UPW, she'd done Date with Destiny, she'd done Business Mastery, she'd done a lot of this belief work, and she didn't even know that that thing was there, which I found within like fucking 2 minutes of actually looking. So I like to start with parents. I do this exercise a lot with my clients. We did it at the one day event, if you remember. So the clients can follow along, people listening can follow along, and then I'll zoom in a bit more with your individual one, and everyone else can sort of follow through. So, for the people listening, which parent do you dislike the most? Don't judge your answers, even if they listen to this podcast. It's all good. What's your answer to that, my man?
My father.
Beautiful. Now, for the guys listening, do it for both parents, but we're just for time, we'll just do one quick one. In a one-word answer, it will be a trait, a behavior, or a part of who they are. It's the label you've created about them. What's the one thing that you dislike most about your dad? In this case, Kevin.
Lack of presence and
Sorry,
accountability.
unpresent.
Unpresent.
Beautiful. So this would be a wound of yours. So for the guys listening, whatever word you come up with, and I get people to answer it a few times. What I do three. I normally like to do three for dad, three for mum. I do three for a current partner or an ex-partner. You can do it for anything. Think of someone you don't like. What do you dislike most about them? It'll be a trait, a behavior, or a part of who they are. Whatever your answer is a wound. Quote trauma. Trauma is a moment of overwhelm or underwhelm. So you've had moments in your life when your dad was unpresent and was overwhelming or underwhelming, probably underwhelming in this case, for you. And it was painful, wrong, bad. You don't like it. So this is the wound. We try to overcompensate from this. Whatever your answers are, guys, you will try to be seen as the opposite of this word. What's the opposite of unpresent? Pretty obvious one there.
Present.
Beautiful. You try to be seen as such a present person, aren't you, Kevin? You like to be present with people, right? And feel connected and grounded and
I
present with them,
do.
right? Well done. That's called a coping mechanism. That's the mask that we wear. This is shadow work for people that have heard of shadow work. Shadow work is the parts of you that you don't love. So you don't love the part of you that isn't present. So, and then you shame yourself for it and you judge yourself for it and you get triggered by it when other people do it. So, whatever your words are, guys, you judge others for this. You get triggered by it and you attract partners who reflect this back to you. So, you get triggered when people aren't present. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, how do we do that? So, that's the game of finding it. Some people say, how do I find it? Triggers are the best place to start. When you get triggered or you judge others, which is a projection, underneath the trigger or the projection, there'll be a trait, a behavior, a label, or it will be a belief. So again, beliefs is I'm not enough, I'm too much, I'm stupid, no one loves me, all that stuff. It can be either. Discerning, the best way to find it, guys, when you get triggered, go back to the moment when you were triggered. In that moment, what was this person doing or being that you don't like? It'll probably be a trait or a behavior. If nothing really comes up for you, I would ask you, what were you telling yourself in that moment? I'm stupid. Everyone's going to leave me. I'm whatever. There'll be some belief that showed up. How do we rebalance it? We want to find a mirror moment of the trait. So perceptions are made in moments and they're rebalanced in a moment. So trust your heart, Kev, and for everyone listening, follow along at home. Close your eyes for me and take a big breath in. Go to the earliest memory or whatever memory comes up for you of dad being unpresent. Go to that moment for me and tell me when you're there.
When my mom actually left my dad.
Now, Go to so and the mastery with doing rebalancing processes or rebalancing perceptions is finding the exact moment you created the label or the perception itself. So there'll be a specific moment, a microsecond, where you created a moment of dad being unpresent. So it might be the way he said something, the way he looked away, he turned his shoulder, the door got closed, you read a text. There'll be a moment in your perceptions where you labeled dad as being unpresent. Tell me that exact moment that from that memory that you just said. Tell me where were you, when was it, and what happened?
Um, what it was actually he wasn't. I mean, I was home with my mum, and dad was home, and mum actually decided to take me to the doctors, and it was in that moment that we didn't return home.
So when's the moment you judged dad for being unpresent?
Probably a day or so later, which was
Cool.
actually
Go to that moment. And this is a good lesson. So this is a great example of this. So it's not necessarily the moment someone did or didn't do something. It's the moment you judge them for it. So it could be like a week. So maybe dad did something. He abused. Hypothetically, guys, your parent did something quote bad, but you find out about it 5 years later. It's the moment you found out about it and you labeled them as it. That's the moment you've created the perception. So where's the moment where you judged him for being unpresent? You said like a day or two later. Go take me to that moment.
uh that was at my like a I guess a family home and it I was just with my mum and I was by
Cool.
myself in the backyard
And what's
and
the thought or the thing that you saw or experienced when you labeled dad as being unpresent?
yeah, so it was outside in the backyard and I didn't have any I was by myself. I didn't have anyone around me
Beautiful. So
and
close your eyes. Get into that exact moment for me.
mm,
When you're by yourself, you're in the backyard. What's the exact thing you told yourself or thought or saw when you labeled dad as unpresent? Tell me the dialogue.
there must be something wrong with me.
There we go. And in that moment, you labeled dad as being unpresent.
Yeah,
Beautiful. So take a big breath and get super present in that moment. The more present you are, the easier rebalancing happens. So in that exact moment, when you're in your backyard and you think there must be something wrong with me, that's why dad is unpresent. And you labeled him as being unpresent. In that exact moment, what did you gain? What did you summon within yourself in that exact moment to get through the moment? Use one word answers. It'll be traits, behaviors, feelings, or archetypes. There'll be things you gained in that exact moment when you judged him for being unpresent. Take a big breath in, get present as you like to. And if you notice yourself going away from it, you're not being present, right? So take a big breath in. In that exact moment when you judged dad for being unpresent, what did you gain in that exact moment?
not sure if I gained anything, but I guess what I can see in that
So what you just said, you just reaffirmed the current
yeah.
perception that it was painful. I only see the downsides, I don't see the upsides. That's the definition of a lopsided perception. So
Mm.
that's you going back to the old pathway. So close your eyes. I'm going to hold you accountable here so I can get you to it. So close your eyes, take a big breath in, trust your heart, breathe into your heart, trust your heart, not your head. Your heart and intuition whispers to you, so just listen to the whisper. In that exact moment, when you labeled dad as being unpresent, you're in the backyard. In that exact moment, when you labeled him as being unpresent, what did you summon within yourself to get through that moment? What did you gain in that exact moment? Gains, benefits to you. One word answers. Go.
Strength.
There we go. Keep going. Give me more than that. Give me five for this, and then we'll move on. So strength. What else? What else did you gain the moment you judged him as being unpresent?
Awareness,
Beautiful. Well done. Go again.
presence,
There we go. Well done.
and discernment.
Beautiful. Well done. Give me one more. These are great. Well done. Great answers.
Um,
And you're starting to connect the dots already, which is awesome. So well done. Find me one more. So in that exact moment, what did you gain? What did you learn about yourself? What did you summon within yourself the moment you labeled him as being unpresent?
I can't think of the word, but I would say like in a sentence, a sense of emotional connection
Cool.
to
Connection.
myself.
Cool. Connection. Connection to yourself. So let me read this out to you. Close your eyes and just receive these. Strength, awareness, presence, discernment, connection to yourself. Would you give up these parts of who you are?
No,
They're some of your greatest gifts, aren't they?
yeah,
And you receive this by your dad not being present. Can you see that?
yeah.
What does it feel like to receive these gifts from your dad by being him being unpresent to you?
It's beautiful. Yeah,
And you'll
it's
start to see, I can see it in your eyes. You'll start to, wow, that's helped me with my business. That's helped me with my clients. That's helped me with my friends, my family, my relationships, my mum. You're like, whoa, that gave me some of the greatest things that I have in my life right now.
mm,
Thank you, Dad, for being unpresent.
mm.
Making sense?
It does, and it's funny because I feel like I've gone to that moment before, but haven't been able to see it from that
Because
perspective.
because a lot of people, just to zoom in on that, a lot of people will go there and you said the belief like there must be something wrong with me, so you could remove that belief. How does your life change with that belief not there? That's essentially stepping out of that identity and like what we did at the one day event. Or you could do an emotional release and a somatic experience there. But if you never balance the mind and the perception towards the trait or the label that you created, you're going to repeat the same fucking patterns. That's why I say beliefs work until they don't. You can do the NLP, Tony Robbins stuff, Peter Crone stuff, and do all the belief work on the planet. If you do not rebalance your perceptions, there's still resistance there, which then triggers you. You overcompensate from it, and you keep attracting it.
Mm,
Remember, right tool, right place, right result. Um, so yeah, that's essentially, and that's one. The full balancing process has 13 steps. That was one step, and we did like 20% of one step. I would get you to ideally get 20 benefits at least. 20 is like the minimum I aim for. We got five. And then there's all the other stats that we do. And by the end of it, you'll be like, thank fuck my dad was unpresent to me. Thank fuck. Thank you, dad. I wouldn't have all these gifts. I wouldn't have the life I have, the gifts I have. I wouldn't be the man I'm proud to be if it wasn't for you doing that for me. Thank you. When you wish for strength, you don't get given strength. You get given problems and challenges that make you strong. When you wish for strength, awareness, presence, discernment, and connection to self, you don't get given that. You get given the opposite. You get given a father being unpresent to you to help you become the person you needed back then.
mm.
And when you really recognize that, not just in your head, in your heart, and you feel it, you have nothing but love.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Thank you.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
Incredible. Well, we'll we'll keep moving on while I calibrate all of that.
Welcome, man. Let us sink in and
Yeah.
drop in. It's really cool, man. And I'll talk a bit to give you some space. But yeah, it's like for the people that are listening and playing along, you just want to find the moment you create labels. There's a big quote that I don't say it that publicly. I don't say it much in my short form content because it can trigger a lot of people. There is no such thing as a bad trait, behavior, event, or person. Only lopsided perceptions created by human polarization. So life is not good nor bad. Thinking just makes it so. So something happens and then we label it or perceive it to be bad because we're humans and we have emotions. So if you go through something that was painful, emotionally speaking, you will very often create the perception that it's a bad thing. And then that cascade of triggers, coping mechanisms, triggers that you run away from, you run into and you overcompensate for, people play that game for fucking decades, if not their entire life, without addressing it. But when you can recognize, okay, when I'm triggered, I'm perceiving something that reminds me of a trait that I've labeled as bad, often from childhood. You go back and find the moment you created that label, rebalance that perception, those triggers and resistance goes away.
Yeah, incredible. Thanks, brother.
Pleasure.
Uh, moving on. What's a question that you really wish more people asked you?
Um, You kind of just you didn't ask it, but you kind of went. You kind of did ask. No, you did ask it, so because that's how we went there. Like what's the actual process of healing? Like how do you actually go through and find it? Because a lot of people use like something for me because I was such a slow learner, and I am quite a slow learner to this day. Is people use these sort of vague, fluffy terms like shadow work, psychology, trauma, coping mechanisms, all these things. It's like, well, what does it mean? And how do you break it down? And what steps do you take? So you kind of asked it not to the full degree of it, but we ended up doing it, is like take me through the practical steps of what doing the work looks like. So that's kind of my question I like to talk about and do content on and help clients with. So you kind of answered it.
Mm,
Mate, I love psychology. I love healing. I love personal transformation. Pretty much this whole conversation has been based around that. Um, Mate, we're in the world of it, so we're kind of in the zone of what I love talking about. So yeah, mate,
yeah,
we're on the right track.
epic. Well, I think the next question I think I know the answer to, but I think it's a really good topic to touch on. What's a controversial opinion you stand by, but most people would find confronting?
That people find confronting. Whenever you get triggered, it's you, not them. It's a projection of you outside of real fight or flight. When you're in real fight or flight, there is natural survival instincts that kick in. The amygdala and your survival instincts will take over. Talk therapy, un unless the individual therapist does do this, most talk therapists never address root causes. They actually give you identity creating labels that actually reinforce problems. So they say, you've got this problem, you've got this disorder, you've got this, and you got this, you got this. Then you believe it. Then your neurochemistry and biochemistry will change to reaffirm those things. Then you'll find more evidence because you have a confirmation bias where you find things to reaffirm the things that you believe. And you've just been given literally a lifetime issue and problem from someone who was probably trying to help you. They're just doing the best with what they have. But most traditional talk therapy fucks people. It keeps them stuck and actually gives them more limitations. So they walk out more fucked up than they walked in with. So find someone who actually addresses root causes. Now, there are some therapists that do that. So that's why I put that disclaimer in there. But a lot of people come to me and say, I've been doing therapy I've got testimonials of people saying 30 years, 45 years, 20 years, 10 years. I had one today. My onboarding call with that client that I was referring to before. She said she's been doing therapy for 6 months, and she said she hasn't felt like she's had any growth. She just seems like she just repeats and talks about the same shit over and over again. That's what most people do. So, yeah, talk therapy for most part actually fuck people up. They just get given more labels and limitations that they then reaffirm and reinforce.
Mm. Yeah, that's actually not where I thought you were going to go with that.
Where do you think I was going to go?
But I loved it. I thought you were going to go down the rabbit hole of narcissism and labeling people narcissists.
Oh, it'll tie into that. So labeling,
Yeah.
you could say that because that person's a narcissist. So yeah, 100%. So narcissism's not a disorder. I think it's that the video you're referring to. So that normally gets a bit of a controversy in the comments. And the way for the people who may have just got triggered from me just then is I believe people display those traits more frequently than others? Absolutely. Do I believe it's just a quote disorder that no one can heal from? No, absolutely not. Because you've got the brain, which is the tissues of the brain, the parts of the brain, frontal cortex, amygdala, cerebellum, all the sort of parts that go into the brain. I don't know all of them off by heart yet, but you've got the brain, then you've got the mind. The brain is the tissues, the tissue of the brain. By itself, the brain does nothing. When someone's dead with no consciousness, no awareness, what the fuck does the brain do? Nothing. It doesn't function by itself. It's the mind, which is beliefs, consciousness, awareness, perceptions, that shapes the mind. It's chicken and egg, but the consciousness shapes your biochemistry, your neural pathways. It shapes everything. You think a thought, you will fire off millions of different parts of your mind, millions of different nerves just by thinking a thought. And those thoughts repeatedly will wire your mind and wire your brain and wire your neurochemistry, your nervous system. So it's so someone who's quote a narcissist, let's give them that label, they're just categorizing their patterns and behaviors or their coping mechanisms. Where does that come from? Their fucking beliefs, their fucking trauma, their perceptions. So guess what? You can rewire beliefs, you can rewire perceptions. So it's just the label is a category of their symptoms. So someone who's quite a narcissist will do these traits, behaviors, which everyone does those traits at some way, shape, or form. But it's not something, oh, they're stuck, they can never change. I wasn't ready to change when over 10 years ago. Did that mean I was a narcissist back then? Because I'm yet to find, I've had people come to me and say, hey, I've been labeled as a narcissist, but I want help. I'm like, well, apparently that's impossible, according to some people. So I just don't believe in the part that people say it's something someone cannot change. Absolute bullshit.
Mhm. I really resonate with that. I think that's one of the posts that's like really hit home and for me. And it's yeah, I think once you see it in that light, it's really hard to like unsee it.
Yeah. I like to play this out for people. It's like, okay, picture someone that you love, and say they go through some trauma, and they get triggered, and they have some coping mechanisms, and then they go to a therapist or a doctor or someone, and then they get labeled as a narcissist, and let's use the sort of society's views on that term. According to them, they just got diagnosed with a lifelong disorder and problem that they can never change. How empowering is that? You've just gone and got given something that's going to fuck you and keep you stuck for your whole life. Fuck, sign me up to that program. Where do I get started? Like that sounds so empowering. Let's go. Where like if you go study, like people just don't believe me. Who am I? I'm just some fucking kid making some content. Go jump on Joe Dispenza's website and go. There's like a testimonials tab, and you can just see all of these testimonials of people who have cured cancer, had bones grow back, have grown back thyroids, who were blind and could see again. I don't know if it was the one you came to, the event that you came to. There was a gentleman that cried out of his eye. Was that? Did you come to that one? Does that ring a bell by any chance?
Yeah, it does actually.
So there was a gentleman. If you were at the same event, it might be wrong, but play along with me. There was a gentleman at our event that we came to. He was born blind, or he couldn't see out of his eye. He's never been able to cry out of his eye, and he was like in his 50s or 60s. After doing the ego process and the sound bowl, so we did the sound session at the event, he cried out of his eye for the first time.
Hmm.
Like, how do you explain that? Like, there's people, and that's a fucking very small transformation compared to like what Joe Dispenza and other people are doing out there. But it's like I just believe human neuroplasticity, epigenetics, people can change. Is it
Yeah.
harder the older you get? Yes, because it's harder to rewire them, but it's not impossible.
Hmm.
I'm yet to find anyone who cannot change if they're ready and willing to. And then people will say, well, it's the narcissists who aren't ready and willing to. Well, I wasn't fucking 10 years ago. Does that mean I was then and now I'm not? Like, again, it
Hmm.
doesn't lay up. It does. Are there people who are horrible people, quote, horrible people who do, quote, horrible things? Yes, there are. But it's not like you have this label which is unfixable and you can't change. I don't subscribe to that.
Hmm. No, I love that, man. And you just reminded me, I met someone today that was paralyzed and they started doing yoga and now they're not.
Yep.
Now they're becoming a yoga teacher.
It's phenomenal, these
Yeah.
are there's so many stories of it. Go for the guys that actually want to jump more into the science aspect of things. Go study Joe Dispenza. He's got.
Mm.
I'm rereading one of his books now. Evolve Your Mind, like the science of how to change your brain. So it's good to go back through that. He's got Becoming Supernatural. You've got Dr. John D. Martini's work is phenomenal. Who else is there? Bruce Lipton is phenomenal. There's some ones that come to mind, but
Mm.
yeah, there's some of my controversial beliefs for you, my man.
Yeah, amazing. I love them, by the way.
Pleasure. Well, the people in the comment sections, I tried like for building a personal brand for the people that didn't ask is you got to stand for something, but therefore stand against other things. So I try to like make my content kind of 80-20, like 80% I'll stand for things, and then 20% I'll throw stones against the things I don't stand for. Because I don't want to build a brand where I'm just like throwing stones the entire time because it's just like angry comments the entire time. So, uh, but I do definitely sprinkle it in there. It's funny. There's a couple of accounts that like they've been following me the entire time. They never comment on any of my posts ever, except for those ones. They just come in and like blast me, and they won't react to any of the positive ones, any of those that stuff. And then as soon as I say narcissism is not a thing, and they like, who are you? You're not qualified. Fucking this, fucking that. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I'll see you another 2 months when I do the next one. So I find it funny.
Uh, well, that might be a good segue to my next question because it is what's a practice or tool that you would recommend to anyone?
Practical tool in what area? Like, are we talking business? Are we talking personal growth, healing, relationships? What? Yeah, quite a broad one.
Yeah, I guess I was hoping to see if something stood out, but for someone that's probably dysregulated, um, doesn't really have that connection with themselves yet, what's something that can really help, I guess, reset the nervous system or develop a better connection with themselves?
Love it. My favorite one is I like to sort of combine different tools together. There's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist, who uses every martial art or knows every martial art and uses the right one at the right time to get the right result. So I bucket self-development tools into two buckets. One is maintenance tools, which is what we do to maintain ourselves. So that's where this conversation is going. Second is integration tools or progress tools. That's where we actually self-reflect, figure out what triggered us, what's limiting us, what's controlling us, and that's changing the programming, the conditioning, or the integration part. So then you actually need to maintain yourself less. So the goal is to stay within your window of tolerance as often as you can, and also strengthen it and widen it as well. So your window of tolerance, for anyone that's done polyvagal theory or done any nervous system work, you've got hyperarousal, think of like stress, anxiety, overwhelm, like jittery, fast sort of survival responses or nervous response. And then you got hypoarousal, and that's like depression, you're lazy, down, lethargic type of thing. And then you've got your window of tolerance in the middle. And that's where you feel safe to connect and play and express yourself. Think of kids who feel safe to play. That's like what that looks like. So when you get knocked out of balance, you get triggered. You see something that reminds you of past trauma. You have a belief that's firing off. You have you go into real fight or flight. Who knows? You go into real fight or flight, and you just want to come out of that. My favorite one is a diaphragm reset with breath work. So you do a 5 second cycle of box breathing. So you breathe in for 5 seconds, you hold it for 5 seconds, you breathe out for 5 seconds, and then you hold it for 5 seconds, and you repeat that over and over. And when you breathe out, you push your fingers into your diaphragm. So firstly, you breathe into your stomach, not your chest, because think of like someone having a panic attack. It's very shallow, top of the sort of chest breathing, like versus and just slowing that down. So I like to do the box breathing for 5 seconds or five, and you do it for as long as you need to until you drop in. That might take a minute. If you're a little bit dysregulated, it might take 10 minutes if you're like super freaking out and having a panic attack. So you breathe in for five, do the box breathing, 5 seconds each on each one, and then push your fingers into your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is just an inch or two below your sternum and your rib cage, and push into it on the exhale. So you breathe out whilst you push it in. And you just do that for as long as you need to. Like I said, might need 10 seconds, might need 10 minutes, might be in fucking hour if you're that freaked out. That's my favorite one. But then I also suggest do the progress tools. Well, what triggered you to start with? If it's real fight or flight, fair enough. That's normal. That's being a human. That's never going to go away. And you don't want that to go away because you want it to kick in when the time is right. But if it's, say, rejection, abandonment, abuse, unpresent, whatever the wounds are from childhood, from parents, partners, whatever, you want to identify that, integrate that, doing a progress tool, so then you get triggered less. So you're actually less dysregulated. So yeah, that's my favorite one. There's heaps more out there. I do 8 at our 3-day event. We do the one I just told you. We do grounding. We do eye gazing. We do discharging, which is tremoring, like shaking, literally moving your body and dancing. We do having a mind blank right now. We do Tony Robbins triad. We do I forget having a bit of mind blank. We do 8 over the 3 days, and we learn it. We do it. We learn it. Then we do it. So we just have a big toolbox of tools to regulate themselves. But yeah, that'll be my favorite one to do. Breathe, diaphragm reset. You should be good to go.
Amazing. Very practical. Cool. I guess before we sort of wrap things up, I guess I just wanted to touch on relationships and their role in a lot of this work. Like you speak about it a lot, but relationships really are like the biggest mirror. Could you share, I guess, a really useful framework of just understanding that would really help people in
Cool.
relationship?
Yeah. Okay. The two types of frameworks I use is knowing which partner is quite the right partner for you, and then I'll go to the sort of triggers and trauma and all those things. So the 3 steps I look at is number one, both partners individually take responsibility of their stuff, their triggers, their wounds, and insecurities, because nothing triggers you, it reveals what's inside of you. And because relationships are the ultimate mirror, which I'll get to on the second point, the second framework, is if you don't take ownership, you're just going to keep projecting and blaming and playing victim and getting fucking pissed off. And if both of you or one of you doesn't integrate from it, you repeat the same fights and the same problems and the same bullshit over and over and over again, and that can only last so long. Otherwise, you just have a very disconnected relationship with all this sort of like addiction and habits and shit off the back end of it. So that's step one. Step two, make sure you're actually aligned with the visions for your relationship. And some people have never even thought of, oh, what's the vision for my relationship? Well, if you want to go somewhere, you got to get clear on where the fuck you're going. So what's the vision in terms of things like intimacy, sex, communication, family, finances, self-growth, spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs? What are your non-negotiables? And I measure a non-negotiable as in you would not be with this person if you weren't aligned. And you're going to be super honest with that. I could not be with someone who does not do self-development and growth. That kind of goes back to step one. And step one is I have it there for people who want conscious relationships. If you don't want a conscious relationship, fuck the healing stuff. You probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast. But if you don't worry. If you want a dysregulated, unconscious relationship, fucking go for it. Just trauma dump on each other. That's all good. So uh, one of my non-negotiables is self-growth. So when I first met Georgia, she wasn't into it. She had never done it before. So the sex was great, the connection was great. We wanted kids around the same time. We had similar goals and dreams and alignment. We were aligned with each other. Besides the self-growth, so I just told her, I said, "Hey, look, I'm really loving what's going on right now. My concern is you don't do self-development." And I want to be with someone who grows and heals for those reasons. If one grows and heals, one doesn't, you're going to grow apart from each other. Are you willing and wanting to do that? And she's like, I've never done it before. Where do I get started? We literally watched Tony Robbins' documentary that night. It's a good first date for people. Go watch Tony. And she loved it. She's like, what the fuck? I've never seen this before. She signed up for a Tony Robbins coach. She went to UPW. She did her breathwork certification with me. She's done her sound healing and quantum healing course. She's done like sexual courses around sexual healing and embodiment. And she loves it. And now we're at a level where we can consciously reflect back to each other's shit, because that's the next framework I'll give you. Step three is to learn the dance. The dance is, how do you support and challenge each other towards the vision? Support can be loving your partner, being empathetic, co-regulation, holding space, being softer. And then accountability could be challenge. So my wife's done both. I've shared stories where I've had trauma and shame come up from childhood and trauma and all this stuff. And I've literally just cried my eyes out to my wife, and she just holds space for me and just sees me, validates me, holds space for me, and encourages me. And then she's had times where she said, Lewis, be a fucking man of your word and do what you said you're going to do. Accountability. So, and the ego comes up when she says it, says, fuck you, but no, it is what it is. She's right. So
Mm.
that's what the dance can look like. So that's the first framework. Second framework is, how do you find your triggers and heal from it? I actually did a podcast on this the other day. So step one is to take ownership, as we mentioned before, take ownership of your stuff. Second is to become aware when you get triggered. So when you get triggered, it's taking that ownership piece, but then your partners can help you with it. So she literally did it like last week. We just moved house and we ran an event, and we had a lot of sort of stressful things happening in our lives. And we had like, I got a bit triggered, and she said, babe, so Georgia said to me, babe, you're projecting, take ownership of it. And the ego was like, fuck you. Again, the ego is like, and gets real defensive. But she was right. And I'm like, you're right. Thank you so much. Thank you for the reflection. Found the trait, took ownership of it, and then we moved on from it. So it's been able to actually take ownership and awareness of each other's stuff, and then support and challenge each other to go do a process on it. Because until you do the progress tool, it's just going to keep bobbing its head up. It's the push the beach ball underneath water, just keep bobbing up until you integrate it. So it's like, hey, babe, when will you do this process? So she had one a while ago. The same trait came up like 5 times in a row. I think it was lying was the trait. And she got really triggered by it, which is from her dad. Her dad lied a lot, and so she projected onto me and got triggered by me lying. And it like happened like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, babe, this is the 5th time it's come up, or whatever the time was. I said, I need you, this relationship needs you to do a process on this. When will you have this process done? Pull up your calendar right now, schedule it in right now, and make sure it gets done. So that's the, let's hold each other accountable and love each other to heal and grow towards the vision. And that's not always easy, because when you get triggered, you go into your shit and you go into a trauma response and all that stuff. So not always easy, but the more you heal and you do, the more regulated you stay, the more integration that you do, the easier it gets. And then we're at a point, like, it was so funny. We were driving down to do a podcast. Me and her were doing a joint podcast. And it was on relationships, how to have a conscious relationship. And it was so ironic. We were driving down to the podcast and we get triggered and we have a fucking fight on the way to the podcast. I'm like, babe, we got to get our shit together. We're about to be the most hypocritical fucks on the planet and tell all these people about being conscious when we're like literally having an argument right now. Let's take a breath together. Let's regulate. Did a couple rounds of breathing. Okay. I'll take ownership of you reflected or I projected onto you inconsiderate or condescending. I forget what the trait was. Thank you for the reflection. I'll do a process on that later on this week. Obviously, we haven't got the time right now because we're literally 5 minutes away from the podcast. What did I do to you? What did I reflect back to you? Rude was the trait. So great. She took ownership of it. It's our triggers. Let's put it on the calendar. Let's go integrate it later. And then we're able to get out of that within like 5 minutes. But that used to like blow up to like fucking fights for 2 weeks. But now it takes like a couple of minutes. Find the trait, regulate through it, find what it is, and then take ownership for it. And that way, think about how quickly you'll grow when you get into a conscious relationship at that level, where you can just reflect back to each other really quickly, take ownership, because it's you, it's not them. I talk about triggers versus boundaries, by the way, guys. Triggers is you've got emotional resistance towards it. A boundary is a standard you hold someone to. So, say a boundary for me is my door's closed. I'm in my office right now doing this. A boundary for me is when my door's closed, don't come in because I might be with a client doing a session. We're doing obviously a conversation on podcast right now. Say my wife barges in here right now and she oversteps a boundary. If I turn around and say like, get the fuck out and get triggered, it's still me. She did overstep a boundary, but I still got triggered by it. Because I could just say, hey, my love, is everything okay? I'm busy right now. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Give me 10 minutes or whatever. The second time, the first example was a trauma response. It was a trigger. So it was still something for me to work on versus a boundary. A boundary, you just hold someone to it.
Hmm.
Someone lies to you, babe, I don't appreciate you lying to me then. Lying to me the way that you did. If you continue to do that, I'm going to leave you. Not as a threatening way. That's just a standard I have for myself. Versus fuck you. Rah, 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 rah. That's a trigger.
Hmm.
So here are three triggers. But yeah, don't know if you got the frameworks out there, but there's some shit for relationships.
No, that was perfect, man. You actually, I think, really well, like really described, I guess, yeah, a framework that can really help each other grow and move in the same direction. I actually did a podcast with someone that I chose not to put it live with, and it was centered around masculinity, and I guess a lot of it was sort of like this stoic, like you don't show your emotions kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
not myself. That goes against my beliefs, but keep going.
yeah, well, I think you've really given me a lot of clarity, and I think you've also given a great example as to um, how you can actually work with it in partnership because it's going to come up.
Yeah.
And rather than suppressing it, and as you said, it's like a beach ball. It's gonna
Yeah.
pop up
What
eventually.
you suppress, you express it somewhere else. So you try to suppress it, but you suppress it in your relationship, it will show up in addiction. It will show up with family. It will show up at work. It will show up somewhere else. You can't try it's learning to integrate the part you shame yourself for, and then you stop getting triggered by it, and then you love that part of who you are, and you're able to show it in a healthy way.
Mm. Yeah, no, beautiful.
But
Thanks for that, man. Cool, man. Well, I think that's the. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on that you feel like we haven't?
man, you kind of covered kind of my jam of things: relationships, trauma, triggers, how to do it. We did a mini little process, how to find it.
Mm.
Mate, you covered a lot of bases, brother. So, mate, it's awesome having conscious conversations. It's one of the things when I look for when I get people to reach out for podcasts is the host number one. It's got to be that. I've got to get like the host vibe, and obviously you tick that massively. So, mate, I enjoyed the conversation. I hope the listeners got some value from it, and yeah, thank you for having me.
Ah, thanks for joining. How do you feel about a quick rapid fire to finish it off?
Mate, fire away, fire at me.
Cool. So I got 5 questions. One quote you live by.
One quote that I live by.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing triggers you; it reveals what's inside of you. Because they show up, and you got to fucking take the ownership piece, which are not always easy, but yeah.
Beautiful. One habit that changed your life.
Meditation or just self, not necessarily sit in a yoga position, but actually just reflecting and processing thoughts. So meditation would be a word to put it.
What lie did you grow up believing?
Fuck heaps of that. You've got to sort of go to uni, you get a high paying job to be successful. That was one of the first ones. That's rich dad, poor dad took care of that for me. But yeah, that was one of the big ones for me.
Amazing. And who is your biggest inspiration?
Uh, there's different people for different reasons. Martini came up straight away, so I'm going to say him. His way of thinking and breaking down into practical, useful frameworks, like his Martini method. I'm a Martini facilitator, one of the modalities I've been trained in. Just his way of like breaking down perceptions and the way that he does it and has all the science and all the shit to back it. It's just so powerful. It just gives me something practical because trauma is probably my favorite conversation, and that's like the most underlying tool I use to help with that. So I'd say Martini would be number one.
Amazing. And what is your current edge that you're trying to move past?
My edge. It's good timing. So I'm wanting to scale my in-person business, the one that you came to. So we did the 1 day event and then the 3 day event. And I'm wanting to, because we do the balancing process there, and I'm like the way we do it, the way we facilitate it, it's hard to scale it, but it's like, how do we scale it? And it's that edge and like thinking about, because I want to do like Joe Dispenza level 2,000, 5,000 people at a retreat sort of venue type of thing. And it's like, how do I scale that? And like all the nerves of like how many people, how much it's going to cost, all the moving parts, how do I facilitate that many people? How's the teaching, all of that. Literally right now, before we jumped on this call, I was working out how to teach it to a group that size. So that's my current edge because it's like in my heart, I know it's possible. I just haven't figured it out yet. So it's like a big mountain I'm climbing right now. So yeah, it's consuming me a lot. I had a really powerful conversation with Mason. He was the MC at the event that you came to. And yeah, he asked me the question, how are you going to bring this to thousands of people at events? I'm like, fuck, I don't know, to be honest. He's like, well, if you had to know, what's the answer? And so I've been trying to answer that for the last 2 weeks. But yeah, that's my current edge, trying to figure out how to bring that to the world.
Oh, amazing, man. Well, thanks for your time. I see you've got a your book in the background there.
Yep.
Where can people find your book, and where's the best place to find you?
Amazon, Kindle, Audible, on the main ones. The Inspired Life Method, if you just type my name in, it should come up. Instagram's where I'm most active. I'm on most platforms, but me personally, where I'm most active would be Instagram. I kind of look over everything, and YouTube. Man, YouTube's hard to crack. I'm trying to crack YouTube at the moment, so it's a slog right now, but I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, most active on Instagram, but yeah, most platforms you'll be able to find me. And but if you want to talk to me personally, give Instagram a crack.
Incredible. Well, thanks for your time again, brother, and you have a great day.
Thank you,
Have a
brother.
great evening.
Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, you too. Amazing.